Welcome to Section 2.9, Part 1. This is the 20th session of the ISACA CISA exam prep series. In this session, we'll cover how enterprises source and manage their vendors. We'll work through several questions. Why has vendor risk become such a big deal? What are the ways to source a technology function? How do you run a sound outsourcing process? What stays your responsibility when you outsource? And what belongs in a strong vendor contract? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because your vendors are now part of your attack surface. Picture a hospital that hands billing to an outside provider. That provider has a door into the hospital network. If their security is weak, your patient data is exposed. Many of the worst breaches start exactly this way. Managing that risk well is core to what you do. So why has vendor risk become such a big deal? Because enterprises lean on third parties more than ever. That reliance raises the odds of breaches and other exposure. So you have to manage the risk before it bites your customers. A few best practices anchor this. Assess every vendor before you award a contract. Put a right to audit clause in every agreement. Give vendors only the minimum access they need. Keep an accurate inventory of vendors and their access. And cut off that access the moment the relationship ends. What are the ways to source a technology function? Start with who does the work. Insourcing means your own staff perform it. Outsourcing means a vendor performs it fully. A hybrid blends your people with vendor staff. Then there is where the work happens. On-site is inside your own department. Off-site or nearshore is remote but in the same region. Offshore is a different geographic region entirely. The point is to take advantage of time zones and labour rates. Picture a bank running its help desk overnight from another continent. How do you decide which way to source? You ask a few sharp questions first. Is this a core function to the business? Does it hold knowledge that cannot be replicated outside? Can someone else do it cheaper, at equal quality, without adding risk? Do you have experience managing third parties? And are there legal limits on using offshore locations? Send the final decision to the steering committee for sign-off. How do you run a sound outsourcing process? Once you decide to outsource, follow a rigorous path. Define exactly which function you are handing over. Describe the service levels and the minimum metrics required. Know your current in-house cost so you can compare bids. Run due diligence on every potential provider. Then communicate the decision to everyone affected. As the auditor, understand the vendor's scope and service levels. Watch for financial viability, licensing, and software escrow. Many cloud providers deliver a yearly controls report from an outside auditor. That report gives you assurance over their internal controls. What stays your responsibility when you outsource? Here is the rule that trips people up. You can transfer the work, but not the accountability. Responsibility stays firmly with your management. So outsourcing is a strategic decision, not just a purchase. You are reshaping your value chain. You keep the core activities and hand off the rest. Common reasons include focusing on what you do best. Also cost pressure, faster time to market, and flexibility. But weigh the downsides honestly. Loss of control, vendor failure, and hard-to-reverse arrangements. Reduce those risks with multiple suppliers and short contracts. And use software escrow so the code survives a vendor collapse. What belongs in a strong vendor contract? Quite a lot, because the contract is your control. Spell out service quality and require violation reporting. Define who handles security and network controls. Set clear performance parameters and a dispute process. Require confidentiality agreements protecting both sides. Include an unambiguous right to audit clause. Address business continuity and disaster recovery. Establish who owns the data and any intellectual property. Require compliance with all relevant laws, even future ones. And make the vendor disclose and approve any subcontractors. How do service level agreements fit in? A service level agreement commits the vendor to a defined standard. It promises a level of uptime and a set amount of support. It carries penalties when the vendor falls short. It may also offer bonuses for exceeding the targets. Above all, treat it as an instrument of control. And if the vendor is overseas, mind the cross-border laws. Every outsourcing deal should pass through your legal team. So let's bring it together. Vendor risk is real, so manage it with clear best practices. Sourcing choices cover who does the work and where. A rigorous process picks the right provider for the right reasons. You can outsource the work, but the accountability stays with you. The contract and the service level agreement are your real controls. In Part 2, we turn to governing and monitoring these relationships over time. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on RooCloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.